World, Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, we have a really special guest, a good friend of mine, Terry Cardenas. Terry Super Patient Cardenas, I should say, because that's our nickname for him. And we're in for a treat because he also brought his sister along. And let's just start. Terry, introduce your sister and tell us a little bit about her.
Okay, this is Jody Cunningham. Jody is here for an LPG training course, her final one, correct?
LPGA.
Yep.
I finished up today. I think I passed my test. I'll find out later.
Oh,
but
wow.
with teaching and pros with the LPGA, I've been in the third level to be a Class A LPGA instructor, tour instructor.
My goodness, sounds impressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
I chase the golf ball like he chases anything super to make him look great.
Well, let's segue over to Terry, and then we'll come back to you, Jody, if you will, in a little bit. But Terry, you are one of those unique kind of individuals that just blows me away because you care about your health in a way that very few people do. And when you get on something, you don't let go, and you find out everything you can about it, including the doctors, and that's why I call you the super patient, because you end up knowing as much, if not more, sometimes than the doctors themselves, right? So tell us a little bit about how all this happened and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I've been in the world of health for quite some time, but it seems like mainly later as I get older, I tend to be more the recipient of the care rather than the promoter of the care of the product, trying to sell it. I got introduced to the new world of stem cells, which is phenomenal, and I've had some great success with it. So much so is that we're going to be starting our own company called Chronogenics, and we
Very
are
good.
going to be promoting different clinics around the country for this type of therapy, and we're going to keep up with all the latest technologies because it truly is the Wild West. Everything's just now starting to emerge in this field, and it's super promising. I mean, just the things that it can do are amazing. I've been the recipient, I think, of more than anybody else I know of the actual therapies itself, which is why they nicknamed me the super patient.
Well, you're right. It's a field that is just at the beginning, that is making a revolution in the whole medical industry. It's going to change medicine, the way medicine operates, and you're sort of the guinea pig, right? You're one of the first guys that have done. Tell us about your first experience with stem cells.
The first time that I was introduced to stem cells, I'd had a shotgun accident injury where my lip was split through and through from the tip of my nose to my lip, and the plastic surgeon did 100 stitches, 50 out, 50 in, and told me I'd have a permanent hair lip style scar. So I kind of hid out in the mustache and a beard for a while it was here.
You have to explain a shotgun injury. You can't just say I had a
Oh
shotgun.
no, we're not gonna.
So is this a bullet,
we're not
or
gonna-
was this the butt of the
a
gun?
shotgun injury
That's right.
was I was using somebody else's shotgun. I'd never shot a gun of that caliber before. Held it too close to the face, and unfortunately, it about tore my lip off. So
It kicked back.
Okay.
it kicked back.
The recoil, yeah.
That's no one accidentally shot me. It wasn't like that. It was a beginner mistake and my fault.
Wow.
But fortunately, I had access to somebody that knew about the therapeutic effects of stem cells on scar elimination. So they set me up with the stem cell serum with a little microneedling stamp, and basically 6 months after the incident, it's pretty much like it never happened.
Yeah, you can't see it.
can
Can't
you?
see it
Yeah,
at all.
yeah.
Wow.
So I got first introduced to stem cell for scar removal.
Uh-huh.
And then I got into it more on the cosmetic side, where I had microneedling facials done,
Uh-huh.
and this was excellent. Took about 10 years off my face immediately, and
Now
from
I should
there,
say you're 95 years old, and
close. I'm closer to 60 than 50. So,
wow.
so now I'm actually here in Las Vegas to do some more stem cell therapy. Come to find out, I have a hole in my hip in the cartilage,
Wow.
and CCS stem cell is going to fill that hole, repair it like it never happened, please, and then from there, hopefully, I won't need much after that. I should be ready to go until I injure myself again, which tends to happen quite a bit.
Now you have a great story about one of your friends, one of your partners, John, right?
Yeah, we use John actually on the business cards and on the website. I can pop up the business card that we have for our company, Chronogenics. The before and after picture of John's amazing. John is another patient ground zero. We'll call him guinea pig 2.
Yeah.
Okay. And John came to do some back injections to avoid a surgery. which he was able to successfully do back in December.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he also did a microneedling vampire facial. I don't think he's actually done the stem cell needling. I think this was all the vampire needling that he had done.
PRP
But
needling.
before and after pictures are tremendous.
Yeah,
he
he's,
basically lost 20 years off his face.
Can
Wow.
you explain
Doing it.
vampire facial?
Okay,
It doesn't sound- it
you have
sounds interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Is it different than
most
the
of
other
the world
women I
is
know?
aware of vampire facials, where they take your own blood, they basically stamp your face with these little stamps that are called microneedles, and the intrusion breaks your cells. You put your own blood in there, which is highly concentrated platelets, and when it repairs, you just repair at a younger age. And it's tremendous for healing. In of itself is great as well. But when you combine the two together, the effects are even greater.
Wow. So so they take your blood out, they take out the red cells and white cells and isolate the platelets, right? And then
Yeah.
put those back in, just the
Yeah.
platelets. And,
PRP shots have been around in America for almost 20 years. I was actually one of the first recipients of that back in 2005 in my left
Wow.
knee, where misdiagnosed chronic arthritis was an actual torn quadricep tendon from an injury a decade before. One PRP shot treatment, 3 days later and 10 years later, like it never happened. But
Like-
now with the stem cells, which are actually the building blocks of the body, it's a whole new ballgame. Now with stem cells, because they can create any other type of cell, that's what they do in your body,
Uh-huh.
they can heal a lot of things. And I mean, it's amazing, really amazing stuff. PRPs are pretty well known. You see that pretty well out there. Stem cells are starting to be that. I predict this will be the new norm in medicine. The days of getting major operations and cut on, whether it be for cosmetic or orthopedics, are going to come to an end. They're going to be healing a lot of the problems that we have, from injuries to diseases, with just their own body.
So you've been interested in health for all your life, or how did it come about?
Yeah, I became a health nut as a teenager.
Yeah. That's it.
I can attest to that.
Yeah, I'm.
My brother
constantly-
had more creams in his bathroom than
All
most
right,
of the
all right.
homes.
That'll be enough, Jody.
True, he's always been chasing the good looks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice when you're highly obsessed and OCD. So I became obsessed and highly OCD about this new world of being able to basically reverse time and buy some
Yeah.
more time and heal some injuries without some serious surgeries. Not a big fan of the surgeries. But sometimes the stem cells aren't going to fix it. You can't get in a car accident and being broken into 100 pieces.
Right.
They can't inject stem cells, so you didn't fix that.
Exactly.
But you see a lot of the mainstream orthopedic surgeons now incorporating the stem cells into surgery just to help with the healing in of itself.
Mhm.
So mainstream medicine is catching on. You're going to see a lot more of this as we go. There's going to be a lot of different products offered to it. What we're going to do with our company, Chronogenics, is we want to be at the forefront of making sure that you're taking products that work.
Mhm.
We want to make sure that you're getting your money's worth for them, and kind of like, I don't want to say policing, but ensuring that everything that we promote within it is something that we're already taking ourselves, that we know that's
Yeah.
going to work.
And making miracles happen, right?
Yeah, it's with my friend John. If he was to tell you, he couldn't even bend over, squat down to pick anything up. He was ready for full-on 2 back fusions with the vertebrae, and I think
Wow.
6 cc's of stem cells in his back with some PRP. And he'll tell you right now, he's basically like 90% completely healed.
My
He's
goodness,
fine.
that's amazing.
Yep.
Now let's make sure everybody knows how to get to your website. And it's probably just being developed
Everything
right
is under construction. All this
Okay.
stuff is brand new. We should have the website up here, hopefully in the next month or so.
now. So let's spell the company out. So the name.
Chronogenics.
Uh-huh.
CRONOGENEX.
NEX. Okay.
Yep.
Is it? It's all one word.
Yep.
Chronogenics. Okay. CHRONOGEN.
Yeah. And what it means is this regeneration of time.
Uh-huh.
That's really what we're looking for. We're looking to basically reverse time, do some longevity, and fitness. We'll have a little bit of everything.
I've heard some crazy stories about scientists that really think that we're going to be able to live double, triple, quadruple numbers of years in the foreseeable future. Maybe in our lifetime.
I
what do
heard
you
from
think?
one doctor that they truly believe that the first person to live to be 1,000 has already been born.
My goodness.
And I thought I was out of line telling everybody I'll be 150 years old, still
Yeah.
look just like this, and I will. So.
Well, if anybody could do it, you could.
Oh.
You're the one out there researching it and finding all these things out. So,
Yeah.
what's the biggest shocker, biggest surprise to you when you've been out here interviewing doctors? And because you've been going to a lot of stem cell seminars.
Yeah,
and-
what we do is we'll go to a specific set of clinic or doctors' programs, their seminars, and we'll do our due diligence on them.
Uh-huh.
We'll make sure everything they're doing has all the proper licensing regulation for the products. Probably the biggest shock is the disparity in knowledge. Because it's such a new frontier, one set of doctors might know the better way to do it.
Uh-huh.
But what they'll tell you is that wait 3 months and there's a better way. Somebody will discover a better way for their procedure of X, and 3 months later somebody's found another way. Well, they don't get together. And that's one of the things we want to do. We want to connect the dots between all of the medical providers within our network so that they're all up on the greatest and the latest practices and what's working the best.
Yeah, probably some docs are expert in one area, and then other docs are expert in another area. Like maybe some with the face,
Sure.
some with bones,
Sure.
and right.
Yeah, some
Yeah.
some are more specialized, some are more general, and it'll just depend on the type of doctor. The chiropractic world has its specialties, the orthotics has their specialties, and the plastic surgeons have their specialties as well.
All right. Well, great. Well, let's talk about this young lady sitting here. You've known her all her life, I guess, huh? All your life.
Almost.
All your life.
For the
Yeah.
first 6 years, we'd had no idea she existed, interestingly enough, but that's another story.
This is my brother from another mother.
Yeah. And that's my surprise sister I didn't know until she was 6 years old.
But don't worry, there's plenty of us. So.
Okay.
No, I'm very proud of my brother. I've watched him on this journey. Like I said, we met when we were I was like 6 years old, but just watching when he likes something, he wants to do something, he vets it all. He just goes after it, tries to understand, even when I'm like, okay, I need a break, I'm not sure what you're talking about, and then I need a rest from it, but he doesn't. So whatever there is to find out about this product and this company that he's starting, rest assured he's looking into it, and
He'll
like
master
he's
it,
checking it himself. And it's I'm just really I think if you have a company, he's your man. If you want a salesperson or if you want a helper to explain the product to people, he just does a great job. And he looks pretty great. And I'm much younger than him.
Yeah, I can
And
see
look
that.
how close we look. We look almost the same young age.
No. My goal is to look this young before the end of the year.
Yeah.
But where are
Now
you?
next year, whole nother level.
That's right.
Good brothers.
That's
Spoken
right.
like a good
That's
brother.
right.
So, tell us a little bit about this guy. What are some of your fondest memories when he was when you were young?
I just really enjoy that he had a lot of German Shepherds. He's a very good trainer in German Shepherds and
Oh.
animals. He loved being outside. We both grew up in Montana, so he basically harnessed the wilderness. He was always outside. He's very, he talks about having a shooting incident. Well, it was the gun that bumped backwards when he actually shot. He knows a lot about guns. He knows a lot about bow and arrow. He's gone deep into some of the deepest wilderness and forests and for days on end, and pulled out meat for his family, and
Wow.
that's probably his passion, I would say. But he really,
He's a real mountain man.
yeah,
huh?
he is a mountain man. He
Yeah.
keeps things real.
I like the spas though too, make no mistake.
He loves the spas. He likes to be pretty. Yeah, the
Yeah.
creams,
And
all
the
that good
lotions.
stuff.
Yeah,
Once
the
I'm done with
lotion.
the mountain, it's right to the spa.
I remember my mother trying to take his lotion, and don't tell him he dropped it off when he came to visit.
Your mom stole my under eye lotion back.
Yeah,
when-
it was made out
and
of
it worked so
turtles or
good.
something, and she was like, "This really works." And I'm like, "We look young. I don't know what you're talking about."
There you go.
I was a little kid, but no, he's always loved this stuff, and
Very interesting.
I really enjoy my brother. He's really brought a lot of great joy into my life, and I just like to see him do well. And when he doesn't, he holds himself well, and I'm really honored by having a brother that can even take a disappointment well. And I love everything about my brother.
Wow, what kind words. Wow, amazing.
She doesn't love everything about me, trust me.
What I don't, I just let him know. And
Yeah.
I put my
She's
hand up when he can talk.
outspoken, trust me.
Oh.
And when he can't.
Earlier I was under the, I'll let you know when you can speak.
I'm gonna tell you a story. When I raise my hand, you can talk.
Yep.
Is my hand up? We're siblings still.
There you go.
Well, you gotta have a little
There you
rivalry
go.
then, right?
Right, right.
Yeah. Now with Jody basically is highly upset family because they taught her how to golf,
Uh-huh.
and in the shortest amount of time she can out golf everybody.
Well,
in
not
the
everybody.
shortest amount of time she went from 0 to a pro golfer, I think in record time. So.
So tell us
She's highly OCD obsessive too.
Yeah.
Sounds like
She'll
it.
get onto something and then she'll master it.
Yeah, if
That's
I
how it
like
runs in the
something, I
family.
don't pay attention to a lot of stuff, but what I do pay attention, I like try to really figure it out. So 2010, we got tickets to the Masters. I hated golf, and we went to the Masters. I was blown away. It was the most magical place I've ever been. Everyone was nice to Tiger Woods. It was when he was in the media for things other than golf. And I was just up front and looking at those swings, and I thought, I was a jazz dancer, I was a tap dancer. This golf swing movement, I just have to find somebody to show me what to do. So I actually went to Dana Rader Golf School in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she helped me to shoot an 80 in only 10 months of ever picking up a golf club.
Wow.
And I just needed a 12 handicap and be working in the golf business to start the LPGA Teaching and Pros program. Well, of course, no golf course wants to hire a soon-to-be empty nest mom to be teaching golf.
Yeah.
And I'd only been, hey, I just joined a league. I went to the Masters. Can I teach golf? They're like, oh, no. So we had 5 acres, and so I opened my own business. I hired myself. And during that first winter, summer, at that time I was in Washington State, and I had 7 clients that came to me regularly. So with the handicap, with the clients, my own little business, I was able to get into the program, which is the first week is just you study with a bunch of ladies. You got a book about this big, all about golf, how to teach golf, how people learn, how people listen, so that you can speak with them clearly. And then we had another week. I took a couple years later, and then just this week I finished the 3rd level, which ended up with a lot of training outside. And then I had to give 2 lessons this morning, 1 short game and 1 full swing, and then watched by evaluators. And as long as I hit all the recommendations inside of a golf lesson, then I get my full Class A LPGA. So, yeah, and I would say probably the most helpful tip today, if you're listening about golf, find something you love. One of my ladies, she loves to travel. And so before she'd putt, I said, come back here behind the ball. What ocean are we at? And, she would drop the ball into the hole from 10 feet away.
Wow.
Your mind's very powerful. And that's
Yeah.
part of LPGA training, too.
My goodness. So do you take your brother out golfing sometimes?
Yeah, I took him out
Yeah.
one day, and when he came to visit me, and he's like, I don't know if I can golf. And he was getting it. He even got out of the bunker.
I'll tell you what, the improvement from start to finish after about 12, 13 holes was amazing. I could actually hit the ball and it would go where I wanted it to go.
Yeah.
So she would coach you along the way.
Yeah,
This was your first
Everything
experience?
I love
from-
telling
yeah.
him what to do.
Yeah,
so I just gave him
I had,
everything.
she taught me everything how to hold, and in one day the improvement was just amazing.
Yeah.
So do you know now which club to use for?
No,
No. Okay.
I forgot,
handed
forgot
him
it
the
all.
clubs.
Yeah.
So he's
that's it's complicated, right?
yeah.
To say
a
the
lot to it.
least.
Yeah,
To
since we
say
did
the
that
least.
day, I'd moved to Washington. I'd moved actually to Texas for a year, and then moved back here, and then my husband was in Minnesota for a year, and now we're back and forth from New York City to Phoenix, Arizona. But in Terry, so seeing Terry in between that is
Yeah,
what
we
do.
haven't lived in
Yeah.
the same city since we were little.
Yeah,
We've always lived in different places.
and remember, I hated golf when I was little.
Yeah, that's what's
Well,
crazy.
they don't have
you
golf
know.
in Montana, right?
Yeah, our father was a
They
major
do.
golfer.
Don't say, yes, you have golf
Our
in
father was a
Montana.
major golfer. Used to try and drag us out there all the time. I ended up throwing my clubs in a big ditch in frustration, and he never took me again after 12 years old. And tried to get her into it forever. And then she got into it, and like in 0 to nothing, she can out golf all of us.
Well,
I can't
actually,
golf
he
at
would
all,
take
but
me
him.
a couple times. He took me a couple times as his caddy, but I wasn't ever able. Girls didn't do a whole lot of stuff, that men did back then.
Sure.
And so I didn't really go with him very often because I was just pulling the cart around. But when I started golfing, even when I had like a 25 handicap, I don't know what happened the day that I did play with him. I mean, he didn't want to play with me again because I beat his score.
My goodness. Wow.
Right, but I went through a lot of teachers. And I fired a lot of teachers, but all the LPGA teachers I have gone through, I've always kept. They've got a phenomenal education program and they base it off of 30 years of neurological science. I could just butchered that word. Dr. Debbie Cruz out of Phoenix, Arizona. She started the OptiBrain, OptiTrain that goes on your phone, and you put this device on your head, and it helps to balance your mind. So it's not like what to teach; it's how to teach and how to speak with people. Like, for example, asking you, how do you learn? Would you like to see something taught to you? Would you like to hear someone tell you about it? Would you like to get in there and hands-on feel?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're quite serious in their golfing, to say the least.
It sounds
The
like
stem
it,
cell therapy, probably the golfers will be one of the biggest recipients from the repetitive motion injuries that they suffer.
And the sun damage, great sun damage.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Because a lot of women my age that golfed this time, they didn't use sunscreen.
Oh my goodness.
And this will be
Yeah.
phenomenal for them.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. You can restore skin like brand new again. Scars gone, the whole nine.
So are
His skin looks really great, doesn't it?
yes, it does. Well, you had some treatment, so
Mhm.
yeah, it looks really
I hide
great.
from the sun, though.
You don't have any
There'll be no
wrinkles
sun
at all?
damage here.
Yeah, you do hide from the sun.
I hide from the sun.
But you're
I'm
fairly.
not
You
a-
look fairly like you've been in the sun.
Well, I go in the sun, but I'm like being here in Las Vegas. You won't catch me out by the pool laying in 120 degrees.
It's a pretty tough area.
Yeah.
Now you spent a little time up north, though. I understand.
Yeah, I'm in Seattle now. I love it.
Yeah.
I don't mind the rain at all. After 30 years of the desert, I'm good with the rain for a little bit.
How long have you been there?
Just a year.
So you.
They tell me another year I'll be done with the rain. I want to leave.
Yeah, it's. But the summers in Seattle are unlike any other place in the
It's
world.
basically like right here in Las Vegas right now. It's 70, 75 degrees, sunshine, blue sky. It's just absolutely perfect.
Really.
Yeah.
Well, that'll change soon.
Beautiful. Yeah, well, it's raining and cold over there, so.
Yeah.
And not Montana cold, but, Washington cold, which is like, 50. Rather
Yeah.
than 50 below.
So raining and cold and
Yeah.
dreary. Sun doesn't shine. You don't see the sun too often in the winter. Right?
In the afternoon, it'll come out. It doesn't rain all the time. They over there.
It rains less now than it did. Like, I was there in 1996, 97. My husband used to drive nuclear submarines for the Navy. And I was there during their, 99 days straight of
In
rain.
Bremerton, probably, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No,
Yeah.
Randy's originally from Seattle too, in that area.
Well, I know not originally, but I did live there for a couple years. Yeah.
Mhm.
Back
Yeah.
in I don't want to say it's too long ago, but it is a great place, and boy, is it packed now with people, right? They're
Oh, yeah.
everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's turning into LA. The traffic's horrible, but here in Vegas, traffic's getting really bad too.
Yeah.
To get across town has been kind of ridiculous these days.
Yeah. Let me just ask our engineer if he could put the timer up on the screen, and so we don't run out. There we go. Okay, we'll get him to reset that there. So,
You want a tip for your a big tip
for
for
golfing?
for your viewers?
Yes.
There's something I'd really like to talk to every
Oh.
one of your viewers about.
Okay.
This whole notion about being loose, holding the club loose, being loose, not being too tight, not squeezing the golf club too hard. Well, the real truth is we don't want any tension in your golf swing. It's like you got white nickels, and you're
Yeah.
like, people when they tell you to be loose, they really mean, hey, you look like you're scared. You're squeezing your shoulders together.
Uh-huh.
You're like hugging yourself. So think of a good image. Take some deep breaths. Because when you do hold on to the club, yeah, sure, you might not be holding it very, very hard just to start, but as you take it back, you squeeze a little bit more, squeeze a little bit more, and when it comes through, you have such strength and such pressure to push that club head far away from your body. You're not loose. So a lot of golfers that I see that come to play golf, when you know somebody's holding their club so loose, like this loose, they're holding it so loose, they almost like jerk to grab a hold of it. Or the top of their club head looks like a top ramen noodle.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid to hang on to it. Just don't be white knuckle.
Yeah. Well, that's a great tip. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nice.
How about a little tip for the average patient out there? Because we're all going to be a patient probably one time or another in our life, right?
Oh, yeah.
And some of us are patients a lot. What kind of advice do you have for people that are seeing medical people?
Well, one thing you should always do is do your homework. Find out, first of all, figure out what it is that you're trying to accomplish. If you go see a doctor, there isn't a one fix all shot.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's going to be specific as far as what you're trying to accomplish. So keep in mind that the stem cells are the building blocks of our bodies. They have the ability to become whatever type of cell they need to become. So a lot of times what will happen is if you don't get the best results that you think that you thought you should have got the first time, it might be that you didn't have enough of them. Okay, perhaps that wasn't the area that needed them the most, because when you put stem cells in you, they just go to where they're needed the most.
Yeah.
If you put them intravenously, just because you're there to get your back fixed, maybe you have something majorly wrong with another part of you, an organ. Guess what? The stem cells are going to go where the body thinks they're needed most. They're not going to go where you want them to go. So if you go to have something back done, make sure that they put them in your back. Because if they put them in your veins intravenously, they're going to run around to where they need to go according to what's going on with you, and you might not know. So when you're doing your homework and you're looking at, try to find out how many have these guys done, figure out where they're getting their stem cells from, etc.
Right.
And this is what we're going to do with Chronogenics. We're going to do all of that due diligence for our members in the program, and anybody that we refer will have all of their licensing in place and their accreditations, and that way you don't have to worry about that part of it. You just need to figure out what you want to accomplish, and then you could shop around within the network of our doctors to find the best location, the best pricing, and what's going to work for the best. And from there, you really need to approach overall health as not just a quick fix with a shot with the new miraculous stem cell therapy. Because if you're majorly overweight, you really got to work on that diet. If you're sitting around and becoming sedentary, you're just going to have more problems, going to be right back where you were. So if you truly want to be healthy, you have to just embrace an overall healthy lifestyle. We got to figure out your diet, your exercise, and how to keep you healthy. So true longevity isn't accomplished in one little miraculous shot of anything. I don't care what anybody says. It's an overall lifestyle choice, so to speak.
So I think that's what we're all waiting for, right? That pill, that magic pill that will just turn us into that person we were, many, many years ago.
Yeah.
But it's not there, is it?
No.
Yeah.
No. You got to work at it.
Yeah.
So, now if you're in great shape and you're just injured and you just need to heal the injury, fine. Then yeah, you'll probably do, one and done. You're good to go.
Yeah.
Do they think this can grow hair too? Like
Yeah.
on head?
Yeah, well, they don't think it. They've already proven it. Bosley and some of the other places are adopting the microneedling for hair restoration. And all that's really happening is every time that you rupture one of your own cells in the needling process, and it combines with the younger cell from the umbilical baby cell, basically you have a new cell at a younger age. All they have to do is keep doing that to you until the cells that you have are that age that used to support the hair follicles, and your hair grows right back. They're starting to grow teeth back in your head where you had no teeth more. That's the other great thing coming from Europe. You can actually grow your own teeth back in your head now pretty quick. Now, I haven't confirmed it. From what they tell me, though, the very first paraplegic has now achieved movement through the stem cells.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you know how much movement?
Nope. I only heard that 2 days ago. Keep in mind that this is all new. So in real time, this is all, we're at just learned process. So unless you're somebody like me that's talking about this, thinking about this 24/7 and talking to the people involved, you don't really hear about it. You're not really going to hear about it.
Aren't we in a fascinating time
Isn't
in our
it?
history?
It's crazy.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, so like I said, you could have the very latest and greatest procedures today, and 6 months later you're just a dinosaur.
Yeah.
Why are you still doing it that way? What, don't you know about this? So that's the biggest problem that we see, is that there's really no network to keep everybody up on so everybody can have uniform treatment across the country, and when we're looking to change that, we want that to be part of the norm. The new norm should just be that if you go to the clinic on the East Coast, the West Coast, wherever, they're performing the identical procedures.
They'll know exactly what to do.
And they'll know. So it all becomes uniform.
Very good. What are some of the other things that you mentioned? Growing teeth and growing hair. I mean, that just doesn't seem real, but sounds like it is.
Oh, yeah. Vision has been restored through retinal shots down in Mexico. That was proven.
Like
Keep-
growing
keep-
teeth, does it mean that your tooth is still there and you just make it healthy on the
No,
outside?
total missing tooth. They can take and I don't want to get into technical terms between the mesenchymal and the hematopoietic. So, but your actual teeth are one of the richest sources for the mesenchymal stem cells
That's
that
right.
have the greatest potential to grow new tissue of any type. So what they'll do is they'll take a little bit of that from one of your other teeth, inject it up into your jaw, and Lord and behold, you just grow a tooth, the one that you missed, will just grow right back.
That would be pretty interesting to see.
It's like
that.
science
It's
fiction,
already
you know,
been
Yeah,
done.
that
It's
sounds like
already
science
been done.
fiction.
Keep in mind, Europe and the rest of the world have been doing stem cell therapy for 30 years. It's finally now coming to America and becoming mainstream. It truly should become the new norm.
How about some of the diseases like Parkinson's and MS and some of these really debilitating
Yeah. The
diseases?
neurological benefits are amazing. You can take somebody that's had major concussions, and through stem cell therapy, you can basically repair it. And I have no personal experience in that. Knock on wood, I have knocked myself out real bad.
Real
lately.
bad. You
Not
know,
real bad. Little bit.
He's been knocked out. He was a hunter. He's been knocked out a few
I
times.
used to play a lot of sports. But yeah, you can take like a pro athlete, pro football player that's had some major injuries, and have some tremendous results from some of the impact injuries. Tremendous results with Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, everything. Type 2 diabetes, they can basically wipe out too.
Well, that's huge if you could do something for a football player, because especially here in Las Vegas, every team comes through here at one point in time. They could just stop in and check your guys' program
they did a
out.
study with mice where they gave 3 mice a concussion and the other 3 without, and they treated the mice. All of them got concussions. Only 3 of them got stem cells. 3 didn't. The 3 that didn't get stem cells died because they couldn't feed themselves. They were messed up. The 3 that got the stem cells lived the full lifespan like it never happened.
My goodness.
So that's a really big thing. Orthotics is a great thing for stem cells. Like this hole in the cartilage in my hip. The before and after picture is going to be great. We'll have it on our website.
How could you get a hole in your hip? How does that? how does
That's
that
an
happen?
impact injury from skiing back in the 90s. I distinctly remember it. It was pretty rough.
Was it a crack first or something?
Oh, it was like a major
A break?
bone bruise, bad,
Uh-huh.
and then just wear and tear over the years. It's like all of us, we wear ourselves out. We wear our joints and our tendons and cartilages out, and
Yeah.
and in the past, what was the solution? They can go in there, they can shoot you up with cortisone until they can't do that anymore, and then they can come in there and they can operate and they can put some cadaver this or that, and a lot of times that's what's going to be needed. If it's too far gone and the stem cells can't repair it. But what they're finding now is as long as there's a little bit of material left to rebuild upon, the stem cells will attach and rebuild what was missing and completely replace it. So the before and after pictures for orthotics and joints is tremendous. That's probably where the biggest success is seen. And then the neurological diseases like you were talking about would probably be second, where they're getting a lot of success. The hair and the skin is just kind of like, it's just
a
crazy.
natural.
Now, what they found out when they were working on a study on an Indian reservation where they were working with dementia and Alzheimer's, they didn't realize that people's gray hair would go back to color and that hair would grow back. That's how they discovered that it actually did that.
Wow.
I remember this is true because I'm sure it's very similar, but in 2013 there was a study I tried to get my daughter in. She has hearing loss, but she wasn't deaf enough to be in it. But they were growing hair in the cochlea based on some study from older people, and their hair was growing back and their hair color was changing. I bet it's the same thing. It makes a lot of
they'll
sense.
use the stem cells to grow the hairs back in your ears to restore your hearing. That's probably already happened as she was.
Well, as of 2013, the testing started, and we were waiting for it to become mainstream. Because every 6 years, you have to buy a set of hearing aids, which is $6,000
Yeah.
for hearing aids.
if it
And
comes
it's just
to-
hair loss in the cochlea from chemotherapy when she was a baby. That's all
my
it is.
goodness.
So if you get your cochlea
That's
to grow
so
some hair,
Uh-huh.
you might be able to hear far away.
Wow. Maybe I should do that.
There are so many. There are
Me
so
too.
many studies going on. They've had tremendous success with erectile dysfunction,
Really?
with all types of things. I mean, it's just amazing.
How about weight loss? Does it help with weight loss?
Well, kind of yes and no. Because if you're not able to actually be active because of some type of injury, disease, if you're willing to go do the work. But no, there ain't no take a shot and lose 30 pounds. Okay. No,
but it does
but
make
it'll
sense,
allow
yeah.
you to be active again where
Uh-huh.
you weren't active.
And you'll
Some people
naturally
might
burn
not
it
work
off.
out
Yeah.
because it hurts.
Yeah.
So if they
Yeah.
can get away with
My partner
something-
John would never even think about getting on a Stairmaster before December when he was initially treated. Today he can outperform me on that Stairmaster. 9 months
My
later.
goodness, what a story! What
Yeah.
a success story!
Yeah,
And he works out every day at the gym.
I'm
Yeah.
in the gym 6 days a week.
And he can outperform you.
And he can outdo me on the Stairmaster today.
He's really in
Wow.
the sauna 6 days a week.
Nice.
Yeah. No.
And the suntan booth.
Yeah.
That's right.
So yeah, depending on what you're gonna accomplish, it's an amazing deal. And what's crazy is the pricing. Is you can go to Beverly Hills and pay 20 grand for the same thing you can come to Vegas and pay 2.
Wow.
And you would pay 5 in Seattle and you'd pay 10 in Southern California.
And don't you think
so you
that-
see such,
Go ahead.
I guess region dictates pricing, right? If
I
there's a
imagine, yeah.
demographic that can afford to pay, they're going to charge it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and we want to kind of get a handle on that for our members.
Uh-huh.
We want to be able to get you the best pricing with apples to apples care
Uh-huh.
that we can possibly do for you. This is what we're really excited about, being able to get out there, because affordability is everything. I mean,
Yeah.
we can tell you about all of this stuff and how great it was, but if you can't afford it, it's very disappointing.
Yeah.
So we're going to have other alternatives that don't work as quick.
Uh-huh.
And make no mistake, they'll be there for you as well. It'll just take a little bit longer for it to work, but accomplish the same thing.
Okay.
And
So-
isn't it nice how natural he looks? He
Yeah.
doesn't really look like a typical Hollywood person who's had work.
No,
he
it
looks
doesn't
like a
look like he's had
natural
a
man.
facelift.
I haven't had any
Botox.
Mm-mm, wasn't had any work.
Cutting on me isn't going to happen unless it's necessary.
Yeah.
I cut myself enough. In stitches right now, by the way.
During sport.
Yeah, I beat myself up good. So
That's probably why you have all the injuries, right?
So one of the things that's interesting is they discover something almost new every other day with stem cells. What they didn't realize, they always knew they were the builders, and they would replace tissue.
Uh-huh.
But now what they're discovering is they're like a medic. They will actually find a cell that needs to be kind of like rejuvenated. They'll rejuvenate that cell. And if they find a cell, this is brand new, if they find a cell that for whatever reason think that doesn't need to be there, they'll kill that cell. And that's
Really?
something brand new. They always thought they were just like, they knew they were functional in what they do, but it was always in basically building more tissue, right?
Right.
But now they're like medics. They actually go around and fix cells that aren't working properly. And if they find a cell now that they think shouldn't be anymore, it will actually kill the cells.
That's interesting. So how
So,
about
so you have a builder, you have a nurse, and you have a soldier.
so for
all in
cancer, would that be applicable for cancer?
Well, one of the things we always got to be careful with, we can never talk about the word cure
yeah.
because you can't prove it.
Right.
So modern medicine isn't really embracing this in the sense that it's replacing a lot. It's costing big pharma and the medical world a lot of money.
Oh, I would
Because if you
imagine.
can give somebody a shot for a couple of grand that avoided a $20,000-$30,000 surgery,
Yeah.
that doesn't exactly make them doctors and big pharma too happy. They can't get you hooked on drugs and the
Right.
whole nine. So the words cure will never come out of our mouths. We're not going to say anything cures anything. What we're going to say is it helped, it improved. Here, you tell me. And I can tell you right now, man.
So if I wanted to fly in-
without it, I'd having trouble sitting here. I'd be in severe pain if I hadn't had it.
If I wanted to fly in from somewhere and have different things done, how long should I stay in Vegas to have your company?
If you chose Vegas as a spot to have your treatment, what's nice about Vegas is Vegas.
Right.
So you could make it like a medical vacation, which is a European model that's been in existence for a long time. People in Europe, they go on the 2-month holidays. They're forced to go. Poor sad things have to be on vacation for 2 months, right? They'll go and have treatments at these clinics, and they've been doing it for decades.
So how long is a good time to come here to do everything you may want to do?
It depends on what you wanted to have done. If you were just here for cosmetic purposes,
How about the vampire facelift? How long?
In
do
and
you
out
need
a
to be
day.
here? A day.
I would take 2.
2.
Yeah, I would take 2. You're going to be a little black and blue when you leave, depending.
Does it hurt?
You know what? They can make it totally painless. They have the topical lidocaines rubs on
Okay.
it, and it can be totally painless. And and it's just all you know, everybody takes pain differently. I remember the first time I had it, there was no lidocaine, there was no nothing, man.
I know you don't take pain well.
Whatever. Anyway, it was painful. But the last round we did, you didn't feel nothing.
Wow.
Nothing. It was like relatively painless. And this is the interesting thing. You can go to one doctor, they know what they're doing. It's, you know, don't hurt. You can go to one that hasn't learned that technique. It's going to be painful. You know, and this is what we want. We can't have it. If you're part of our network, you got to know the right techniques to keep it as painless as possible and most effective.
Oh, very good. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, let's switch gears for a second. I've got to ask you this, since she's told on you when you were younger about the lotions, but
You be careful.
you got to tell us one secret that nobody knows out there. That
With Jody?
about her. Yes.
Oh, she was a Miss Teen Billings, Montana.
I was Miss Billings, Montana, 1987.
Really?
See, I've
Yeah.
got the wave.
Oh my goodness, you
yeah.
got it down.
And she's had a bit of work, by the way.
Not on my face.
No, okay.
Where
She's
have I
had a
it
bit
on
of
my
work.
face?
She's had a bit of work. Unfortunately,
I had my
she
eyes
had the work
LASIK.
that if you
She's
don't
telling
maintain it,
secrets
comes
now,
back.
remember.
Yeah. You know, what's so interesting is you hear less and less about people having like traditional facials anymore.
Yeah.
And then the lifestyle lift was the big rage here, you know, 5-10 years
yeah.
ago, which was like a mini facelift. Now everything's pretty much this stem cell world, the PRP, lasers and creams, and, you know.
Very interesting.
They can actually use the fluid left over in the PRPs now to replace the hyaluronic acid fillers in the faces.
Oh, wow.
And
Wow.
that is the Generation 3 vampire facial that another group uses that we know about.
Wow, very
So-
interesting.
So yeah, as time goes on, they're just going to discover more and more ways to do it.
So let's look into the future, 4, 5, 6, 7 years from now. What's your life going to look like, do you think?
Well, I'm going to look younger than this right now, for sure.
He wants to look
You-
way
You
younger
really
than
believe
me.
in 5, 6, 7 years you can be younger looking than you are
I'm
right
going to
now?
be younger. Not looking, I'm actually going to be inside and out younger.
Wow.
They'll be able to measure biological markers, and I'll
He's
function
been
at a
saying
younger
this since
age.
we were kids. So maybe this is what he was meant to be looking for.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah. You know what? We're on the edge of not just stopping aging, but reversing it.
Uh-huh.
And it's going to happen. And I don't doubt that the child that's going to live to be 1,000 has already been born. I would not doubt it for a second. We're right on the edge of the
So I
precipice
guess
of making this happen.
the secret for us is to live long enough so that we can live forever, right?
I'm not going to go with the forever thing.
Or at least a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot longer than we imagined, that's for sure. Because just, you know, in a short time ago, 150 years
Uh-huh.
would have been a heck of a goal.
Yeah.
But not 150 years crippled, immobile.
Right, exactly.
You know, no. Who wants to live? I don't want to live like that. You
Yeah.
take me out and put a bullet in my head if I'm, you know, having to be spoon fed,
Yeah.
stuff like that. Well, we're just talking to actually be mobile and cognitive, and to be functional.
You're
So
talking about actually being younger.
Yeah.
Biologically.
biologically younger.
That's
It's
very
actually, there are studies going on that absolutely is working. They did the mice study with Harvard, where they made the mice with a couple of compounds live rather than 2 years, 6 years in a double-blind study. Absolutely did it. And that is being carried out in Southern California under a different program, and it's had nothing but success. They're taking men in their 60s and 70s that have all the problems that a 60, 70-year-old has, from high blood pressure to ED to diabetes to whatever, and they've been absolutely able to reverse it. And you see that person training in the gym like they're 30, 40 years old. You go measure their heart rate, their biological functions, they're absolutely about easily a third their age. Not look, actually be that younger from the
My
inside
goodness.
out.
Well, Jody, how about you 5, 6, 7 years from now? What's your life going to be like?
Well, I think I'm going to get an even lower score. I hope to have a bunch of grandkids
Yeah.
and play golf and teach them how to play golf. And yeah, that's kind
So
of where I'm
how
at.
good a golfer are you?
Well, I'm not in the teaching. I'm not on the tour. I'm just in
Oh.
teaching, and so my best score is just a 77. But at that time, I had so many putts so close. But I shoot between like 78 and an 81. But I don't like that's just get up and go and play golf and not worry about anything.
So the top female golfer right now is who?
Oh, there's many top female golfers, and a lot of them are from Korea and the Asian countries. And it's so interesting is during this LPGA training, we had a young lady from Japan, Korean, and Taiwan. And they don't have big golf courses to practice on, but instead they're inside of a building with a net and a video, and so they just have net here and they have maybe a screen here, but they imagine where the ball wants to go. And so some of the best female golfers are from Korea, and they've spent more time imagining great shots. Whereas an American, people are saying, why aren't the Americans, 10 deep being the best? Look at our golf courses, they're amazing. And they're just hitting out of nets. Well, maybe they're imagining more. They're using their mind to see those bunker shots that are so difficult. And so then when they get out there and actually play, they're like, I've imagined beating this shot, doing this shot so many times. That's what I think. Some people say, oh, their parents have had them in golfing since they were a kid, since they were at birth, had a putter in their crib. Yeah. But I think it has a lot more to do with their imagination and their mental thinking.
Last night I took my two boys to the T-Mobile for the Lakers versus the Warriors. So Shaq was there, and Magic Johnson was there, and of course LeBron and Stephen Curry, all these greats. It was pretty interesting. But anyway, on the way back at the Luxor, they have the I think it's called the esports. Have you seen that? Apparently, it is a big thing now, as big if not bigger than some of the major sports. And I'm just wondering, when I was listening to you, do you think golf is going to change that way? Because you talked about some of these people actually practicing that way.
So are you talking? Does it look like a Top Golf?
Well, sort of a combo of video games and well, I think the esports is just all the video games and
I got you.
The whole broad area.
Well, a lot of people that I meet that they don't golf, they have a video game golf. And it's a lot cheaper to have a video game in your hand than it is to manicure a golf course. These golf courses out here may cost $1 million just to upkeep. Yeah. And that's with nobody even on it.
Do you see professional golf changing and moving in that direction?
I think it really, in that direction, it needs to be a part of it.
The e-golf championship.
There's nothing like being out when you're a golfer. There's nothing like being out there and hitting a ball. I mean, the way the club, when you hit the sweet spot and the ball goes where you want it and you controlled it. There's nothing like that. That high is so great, and of course the low is real low.
I'm sure.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're just about out of time. This hour went really fast, but Terry, give us some last words of wisdom, if you would.
Okay. As you're considering traditional medicine, if you're in line to have a surgery, if you're thinking about getting something fixed, you really should look into this new world of stem cell therapy and all the other latest and greatest, more holistic type of medicine, so to speak. And just keep an open mind, do your due diligence, and don't just box yourself into having just the traditional thing done, because there's much better techniques and therapies out there that are available. You just have to get out there and find them.
Well, very well said. Well, thank you, you two siblings, and thanks for joining. It's been a great time. We could have talked for hours, I'm sure, but
thank you, Randy.
We'll look forward to doing it again sometime soon. But we'll see you next week, same time, same station. Bye-bye, everybody.